Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sons of Sequoia podcast, broadcasting live from Wheat Ridge, Colorado, the home of the champions. It is Monday, May 24th, and today we are going to discuss a short film that was released by the New York Times Op Docs entitled Walk, Run, Cha-Cha. How are you this morning?
I'm doing quite well this morning, and a beautiful morning in Denver, Colorado. And how are you doing this morning, David?
I'm doing just fine. We watched this movie last night. We sort of plowed through most of the 2020 nominees for Best Documentary Short. So now we've moved back to 2019. And do you want to explain why we chose this one over the others?
Well, a lot of the others seem pretty depressing, and we just wanted something a little bit more uplifting, and it was. I found this to be a very lovely, very heartwarming, a very interesting short film.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and I think all those things you said about it are true. If you want to chit-chat about it for a second, I'll pull up the trailer. Sound good?
Sure. I guess, yeah, the trailer will explain it in more detail, but it's these two married couple from Vietnam. He was forced to come over in '79 to America, and she had to leave her behind, and they were separated, and it was very difficult. And finally, when he got her over, they had to be reacquainted and get to know each other and in a new world. And the way they did that is through dancing. And it was a very again, heartwarming short film on how he did that and how they did that. How they came together and how dancing brought them together.
Yes.
And there's a lot more takeaways than that, though, that we're going to get into.
Mm-hmm. So shall we watch the trailer?
I'm ready.
Okay, and I just want to point out, the trailer is here, but the actual film itself is available on YouTube to watch. And that's one thing that I love about these documentary shorts. A lot of them have a good message, a good story, but they're also easily accessible to anyone, so you don't even need to belong to a streaming service. You'll be able to access this particular documentary short for free on YouTube, and I think that's a good thing. I like the fact that these films that tell a story that deserves to be heard are readily available to people. So, but that's enough blathering from me. Let's watch the trailer. Let me just share the sound so you can hear it. Okay, and here we go.
Before I learned dancing, I can only use my body to walk, to swim, to run. Today, I can use my body to reach another level of freedom.
I wish I could have danced earlier at my age, but better late than never. We're lucky to have an opportunity and the right time, maybe the last time.
There it is, very simple.
Very simple. And the more I thought about that, and the more I saw the 20 minutes of this short film, it really got my mind to thinking about life and about beauty and about these two people. Like they said, a new freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and the way they described it, it just got me to thinking a lot. And it's interesting. We talked a lot about it, David. Like, why would anyone make a film about two people dancing?
Well, I mean, it's not like they're elite. And this is the interesting thing to me. This is what I liked about the movie. Like you pointed this out to me. The fact that they're not elite is the whole reason why the movie works. So they talk about how we love dancing. We danced in Vietnam, and dancing was banned in Vietnam by the communist government. But he would have dance parties, and he'd invite me over. I was his girlfriend. Then he had to go, and we were separated for 6 years. He left in '79. She didn't actually get citizenship till '91, but apparently they didn't see each other for 6 full years. And when they got back together, they rekindled their love, and they rekindled their love for dance. But early on, she talks about how they go 3 hours a night, 4 nights a week. That's a lot of time spent, and they have private instructors, and they take group lessons, and they'll go to the ballroom, and they'll practice. And so you sort of expect them to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And
bring our pictures up again. Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
mean,
true.
you can't see. The broadcast can see our pictures. It's just sometimes
Okay.
I forget. But
It's okay.
so yeah, but then you see them dance, and they're not that good. And like you said, they don't have to be good for the world. They're good for each other. And when they dance, it's the most beautiful thing in the world for each other. That was the point that you made.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's true, and that's sort of what the story's about. But you don't, like you said, mentioned, why are they making this movie? I thought, oh, they're going to be insanely good, and then you see them, and it's like they're just everyday people dancing, and you wonder, why did they choose these people? You know, their story isn't like insane. It won't blow your mind. It's not particularly compelling, but the fact that it's so real makes it so interesting, and I don't know.
It's not compelling on the surface. It's not like you said, David. They didn't become world-renowned dancers that can beat everybody at any competition, and that's not the point of the story. And on the surface, it's not compelling. But when you go beneath the surface, on what happened and how they finally were separated for so long, and they dance was something that kept them together, and when they danced, it was like I mentioned. It didn't say this, but in my mind, I'm thinking they are the most beautiful dancers in the world to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's theirs, you know, and it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters how well how much you do it, and how important it is to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it was a very good message. But then what? Again, you've mentioned many times where you stand is depending on where you sit. But how come they made this movie? I
Yeah.
mean, what story were they trying to tell? Were they trying to tell the deeper meanings of be yourself, or tenacity, or two people loved each other, came together, or the importance of dance, or what was the actual motivation for the movie? It's a very good question to me.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating to me too. It's and it's not like they were people. They were normal people. She was an auditor for the state of California. He was an engineer, and so they held regular everyday jobs, and they just had a hobby. And that hobby was, as a couple, they would go ballroom dancing, and they would take lessons, and they would do competitions. And then at the end, and a part of it is also they lost all these years, and so perhaps dancing was sort of making up for the years they lost. And they say that, like, maybe we danced so much to make up for the years we lost. But then when they finally dance at the end, they dance to "We've Only Just Begun," which I thought was kind of funny.
I thought it was a message that the short film was giving, like, you can start any time in your life. Your life is never over.
Mm-hmm.
You can start anything at any age, and you can start anything at any age with anybody. And I think there's a lot of good messages.
Yeah.
A lot of good messages there. Be yourself. Create beauty that's yours. Don't try to judge yourself by other people. You can start creating beauty even today, no matter where you are, no matter what your past is, no matter what your future you think it is. Start today.
Mm-hmm.
Start today. It was good. That was a really good ending, and maybe that is what the directors and producers were trying to convey.
And I know the director. There's some videos on YouTube I saw while I was putting together the thumbnail and stuff. of the director talking about the film. And I would be interested to hear it just because I don't know how this got chosen. It's truly a slice of life, you know? It could have been anyone. And the message is great. It's, you know, you don't have to be world class. If you love something, do it, you know? And he's like, my body, I used to only be for this. Now it's for dancing too. Well, you watch the guy and he's not like Baryshnikov. You know, his movements won't bring you to tears. But while he's doing it, he himself experiences something that's very meaningful to himself. And perhaps it doesn't matter what people outside see. It's, I don't know, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating message that the movie sort of has.
Yes, it's like art. Really, what's that saying? Art is in the eye of the beholder, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But art is not so much in the proficiency of things being done. It's in the emotion that is there, and it's the human connection that is there. And that can be at different levels. It can be one to many. It could be just him and her together. And that's just as much art as anything. And actually, that's probably what makes life worth living, is creating beauty like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we've basically covered the movie, and we're only 15 minutes into the podcast. Maybe we'll have a short episode today.
We'll have a short episode today because actually, I would like to encourage people to start watching these short films and think about them. You know, we always say keep on talking and listen more than you talk and understand what the other people are saying. We always say that. But listening to what other people are saying is more than just individuals talking or people writing articles, but sometimes it's these short films, because you can say things in different ways. And the question is, what were these people trying to say with this short film?
Yes, let me pull up. I just want to pull up real quick. Best documentary short subject, just to get to 2019. Learning to skateboard in a war zone if you're a girl. I think that's about Syrian girls skateboarding. That's what won. That one's not available online. But let's look at the ones we didn't. Let's look at the ones we didn't watch. In the Absence is a South Korean short film about a boat that sinks and 300 people, mostly school children, die. Life Overtakes Me, that one's also available online. It's about a rare psychiatric condition that refugees to Sweden get called resignation syndrome, where they sort of withdraw, where these children withdraw into a coma-like state because they don't know what's going to happen in their lives. And then St. Louis Superman sounded cool, but that one's not available on any streaming service. He's about an activist, battle rapper, and former politician. So out of the three that were available, which is In the Absence, where a bunch of kids die, Life Overtakes Me, where a bunch of kids become so depressed that they go into a coma, or Walk, Run, Cha-Cha, where a bunch of later middle-aged people sort of rekindle their love and sort of pursue their passion for dance, despite the fact that they're just solely amateur. Which one sounds more uplifting? Like, which one do you want to watch before you go to bed?
That's right. That's right.
Bad things happening to children or good things happening to late middle-aged people? I like the idea of the good things happening to late middle-aged people. It's just now we may watch the other two and discuss them because they do sound like they have a message, but they sound more difficult, if that makes sense.
Well, that was very revealing. Like, you had those 5, and they had different messages. You know, I think the messages of Walk, Run, Cha-Cha is an uplifting, powerful message of human connection and dance. And the others, they have a different message. They're a very different message of sadness. That there is sadness in the world. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I made a short film, if it won, then it would be behind some kind of a firewall of payment or something. I would hope I didn't win, because if I made one, I would want everyone to watch it. I would rather it didn't win, so people could watch what I did.
But
and
let's say
it's
that you
free.
put, $500,000 of your own money into the production and you wanted to recoup those costs. You
That's
know,
true too. That's true too, David. Yep.
I mean, it's tough. The economics of this sort of corner of the entertainment industry. It's not like Marvel. Like, oh, we're going to spend $100 million and get back 150. It's when you're looking at sums for these movies. I'm sure the budgets are $1 million or less. But that's real people's money. Like,
Yeah.
it's really $250,000 that went into making some of these movies, and that's why I think you see a lot of these. They have a network or organization backing them. Walk Run Cha Cha had New York Times. St. Louis Superman has MTV. Life Overtakes Me, I believe, is Netflix. And In the Absence is Field of Vision, which is Laura Poitras's company, which is the same company that did Do Not Split.
Uh-huh.
So they all have sort of a company backing them to make these documentaries. And I think that I don't blame them. I don't blame the Learning to Skateboard in a War Zone If You're a Girl for trying to monetize. Say, you can watch this for $10 because they put in the work. They made this thing and they won this award. And I mean, it does have value. We think of everything should be free. And I think that it's awesome that these messages can be free, but I understand why they're not free when they're not.
I agree. I totally agree. So that makes perfect sense. But if they're free, then they can watch them, and everyone can watch them where they normally wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would get a bigger audience. But then they have to recoup their money. That makes sense too.
Mm-hmm. And it's the ones that have a network the one that won this year, Colette, that had a gaming company and Facebook behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So Oculus is Facebook. Facebook owns Oculus. So it's like there's a huge corporation behind it that makes it financially viable to make this stuff. And I think that that's cool that at least corporations on some level are spending money to put this stuff out into the world.
That's right. That is admirable because, like Colette, that message it was good to get out there. And even Walk, Run, Cha Cha, this one, I think it's important to get that message out there.
Yeah. And well, I mean, Colette was a remarkable person, and that story was remarkable. And this was unremarkable, but that's sort of some of the charm of it.
That's right. Very charming. And it was not as remarkable, but the remarkableness of it was not was in the simplicity and warmth of two people that separated and came back together. And how many times is that story just repeated?
Mm-hmm.
How many times is that story should be repeated over and over and over again? And no matter how old you are, you just say, we've only just begun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now that's a message also that needs to be emphasized and carried forward.
Yeah.
And that's when I first started watching it, I expected a different kind of movie. But toward the middle and toward the end, I began to realize what it was going to be, and it really got me to thinking about, there's a deeper meaning to this. It's not like a typical film.
Yes.
We have beginning, middle, end, and all of a sudden everyone gets together, and all of a sudden it's fantastic, and it's the best dancers in the world. It's not like that, but it's much more founded in reality, and also the fabric of a civilized, successful society. That should be good. That should be repeated multiple times within a society.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too, because one of the things that I ended up liking about it was that it didn't really tug on your heartstrings all that much. There weren't these moments where it was just trying to manipulate you emotionally. The documentary nature, sort of cinema verite, like the real life, fly on the wall type thing, you see these people and they're just normal people. Then you watch them dance, and you watch them with their dance teacher. The dance teacher's like, no, you're doing that wrong. No, you're doing that wrong. No, you're doing that wrong. And like the dance teacher has a lot of instruction to impart, despite the fact that they do this all the time. I mean, they're putting in the time because they love it, not because they're going to be professional dancers. And
Right.
and then you're like, well, what's going to happen at the end? And what happens is the director rented out, or I don't know, the production company rented out a sound stage that's extraordinarily well lit, and they do their whole dance routine and they film it professionally, and that's the end of the movie. And it's like, that's cool because it won't leave you with tears in your eyes, but it's beautiful in its own way.
They did it.
Mm-hmm.
They went the distance, and they performed for us.
Yes. And yeah, and they performed for the world in a movie that was nominated for an Academy Award. They could say,
Yeah.
we got nominated for an Academy Award. They made a movie about us, and 1/4 of the movie is us dancing. That's pretty cool when you think of it. Who else can say that? What other dancers can say that?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hardly any.
Yeah. Well, I, as they say, halfway through and even the end of it when they danced, I thought that was really, really cool, really cool. And what I enjoyed at the end was not, I enjoyed watching their dance, but it wasn't like a Baryshnikov. What I enjoyed is watching them enjoying their dance together. Watching them enjoying each other, watching them enjoying their dance. That was the beauty of the dance.
And that's sort of what it's for on some level, right?
It's
Like-
for your partner.
And also, it's what it's for in 99% of ballroom dancing situations. You know, I think that it's as much of an intimate thing between two people. It's not something that, like, because we're sort of conditioned. You have, what's the show with the celebrities and the dancing? Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars, yeah.
So that's where we see ballroom dancing in popular culture. And they have a professional dancer that sort of carries along the star, and they dance, and then they judge them. You get a 7, you get an 8, you get a 9. And this was just, well, these people are dancing because they love each other, and that's like one way they express their love for each other, and they have passion for this. And it's not designed for you to sort of sit there as an audience member and be like, 6. You know, you don't, like, assigning a score to it sort of really cheapens what they're really doing, which is something that's between them. And when you think about ballroom dancing, it shouldn't be a competition. It should be between you and your partner out there on the dance floor, sort of forming a meaningful connection through the power of dance. That should be why you do it. And so it sort of shuns the societal impulse we have to judge dance as, this is good, this is a 5, this is a 7, this is a 10, and sort of shows you this is what dance is actually for. And
right.
And that's kind of a cool lesson.
Yep. And I think that's one of the lessons. I don't know if they meant to make that lesson, but that was pretty much the takeaway that I had toward the end. I went into it with one expectations. I left with a different expectation,
Mm-hmm.
with a different feeling and knowledge and motivation. It was very motivating. Like, yeah, let's just be ourselves. Don't try to be something. Don't try to be better than anyone else at something. Be good with what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Be the best with what you have, and that's success.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, between a couple, if you find a mutual state of understanding and joy doing something, it doesn't matter what it is. You could, as a couple, love doing jigsaw puzzles. And every night you put on some music and you pour a glass of wine and you sit there with your wife or husband and you do jigsaw puzzles. And you can be the worst jigsaw puzzle doer in the world. It can take you 6 months to do a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle. It should take you 4 hours. But as long as you enjoy it, it doesn't really matter, right?
That's right. Doesn't matter. Yeah, because that's the takeaway. And what if the world did that? What if the world just didn't try to outdo each other, but they just became themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What a wonderful world this would be, kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice. Uh, but when you unfortunately, because it takes you away from judging yourself relative to others, because then the human nature kicks in. You have the one way for you to stand out is to tear down other people, and people will start doing that. And so, no, don't think about other people. You just be the best you can be,
Mm-hmm.
and you define success that way.
And I like that I mean, that subversion of your natural impulse to say, these people aren't that good. It's like, that's not the point. The point is not for them to be good. The point is that they love what they're doing. The point is that they love each other. The point is that this is a way that they connected back in Vietnam. They were apart, and now that they're together, they do this like crazy. And they still love it after all these years. And that's the point. That's what you should be taking away. And unlike the other ones where it's like, oh, 300 children died, or these people are so depressed they lapse into a coma. It's like, these people, they got separated for 10 years of their lives. And when they came back together, what did they do? The thing that brought them together in the first place. And they do it like gangbusters, and they love it. And they're both fully on board with it, And there's some beauty in that story. And it's a story that deserves to be told, even though it's so mundane. These are normal people. They're ordinary people. And they're ordinary people in their lives. They're ordinary people with their creativity. Like, their creative output isn't elite. It's just what a normal person would do if you studied dancing.
Yeah, but it was theirs.
But it was theirs, and that's what's important.
Yeah, and I think both Paul and I think they both said that they really appreciate the freedom in this country to do that,
Mm-hmm.
because they were not allowed to do that in communist Vietnam.
Paul and Millie.
Paul and Millie. Wow. Yeah. And so that they both are really, I think Millie was saying she appreciates the freedom, and so did Paul.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom in the United States where they could do that, and even have lessons and be as good as they can be, and actually that's a lesson unto itself, that when you have the freedom to do that, then you're gonna create a society that's going to be really positive and just a wonderful place to live, a civilized, wonderful. And some people don't dance. Some people don't dance.
Mm-hmm.
They go, oh, that's silly. That's silly for you, not for them. Don't say it's silly because you don't dance. Say, oh, they dance. That's theirs. What is yours?
Mm-hmm.
You find what yours is. You find what your artistic output or your connection to the world is, and then do it. But don't do it to where you're trying to be better than anyone else. You do it to be the best you can and enjoy it for yourself.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to me because now it's sort of coming full circle, just sort of thinking about this. If you're an incredible musician and you write a hit song, you may have a million other ideas, but you have to play that hit song the rest of your life because that's your bread maker. And you may resent the fact that you wrote that hit song, that your talent allowed you to do something that you become defined by, and you can't grow and you can't, explore yourself because the expectations are upon you to play that hit song. Billy Joel has to play Piano Man, and he's like, I don't want to play Piano Man anymore. I've been playing it since 1977. And it's fascinating when you're doing something just for yourself, those expectations aren't there, and you can grow and you can experiment and you can do whatever you want. And the art actually becomes more pure because it's not tainted by the approval of others. It's simply an expression of yourself.
That's right. And that's what art is. Art is an expression of yourself. And I think that's in everyone. I think everyone should start seeking that.
Mm-hmm.
And they should start in schools when they're young. And the thing about a child drawing something you don't even know what it is, and you go, tell me about it. And they go, oh, it's this and this and this. Oh, well, that's really cool. You never know where it's going to go and what's going to, and it may go nowhere. But the point is, it's theirs, and they did it. Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered it. Should we just do a very short episode today?
Yep, I'm ready. Yep, that's
Okay.
good. Actually, but it's short. But I think the things that we've said needed to be said.
Yeah. And I encourage everyone, there's if you go to youtube.com, you look up Walk, Run, Cha-Cha, you'll find the full movie. I could leave the link in the description, but I'm too lazy. So find it yourself. You know how to use a search engine. I'm going to
Walk, Run, Cha-Cha.
I'm going to play the outro music, and I'll let you close the episode.
Okay, Sons of Sequoia, we're here because we want to keep on talking, but urge everyone to listen more than you talk and try to understand what the other person is saying.